Hey everyone, Sky here to discuss For a Few Dollars More, starring Clint Eastwood, Lee Van Cleef, Gian Maria Volante, and Klaus Kinski, and directed by Sergio Leone. Now, I have seen it once, but I don't remember it very well, like last week's movie, or next week's movie for that matter. Let's get into this one, and we'll see how this goes, compared to A Fistful of Dollars last week. We start with a man getting shot, and we just move on to the opening credits. And I have to say, I like the opening credits from the last film better uh, than this one, as the camera just sits there when we get the opening credits. And we get to a train stopping at the wrong station, and Colonel Douglas Mortimer, played by Lee Van Cleef, sees a wanted poster to a guy named Guy Calloway, as he goes into a bar to get Calloway. And as Calloway escapes, Colonel Mortimer shoots him down. As Calloway misses every shot, but Colonel Mortimer kills him dead. Colonel Mortimer gets rewarded $1,000 for getting Calloway, and his next target is Red Baby Kavanaugh. As the man with no name, or this time we'll call him Monco, returned by Clint Eastwood, is also searching for Kavanaugh. And I like Colonel Mortimer as he's a badass, just like Monco as they're the two best characters in the movie. Monco plays poker and kills Kavanaugh and his men as he collects $2,000 bounty. And the movie looks good, but just not as good as the last one, in my opinion. Elsewhere, a Mexican bandit named Indio, played by Gian Maria Volante, is hanging in jail until his gang shoots the guards and lets him out of jail, which is a good breakdown introduction to the villain of the film. He gets ahead of the bounty hunter who was responsible, or a hold of the bounty hunter as he was responsible for putting him in jail in the first place. Beats up a man and challenges him to a duel as he kills his wife and child. And the lips reading, the dialogue doesn't seem to match it, just like the last film did that as well as here. It's more frustrating than I can imagine than Indio kills the bounty hunter. And that was a brutal scene to watch. Colonel Mortimer arrives in El Paso, Texas, and so does Manco, and they cross paths as they're leading to believe Indio will rob the town's bank, which is rather convenient for the writing, but I'll let the movie go at this point. Manco witnesses a fight almost occurring between Colonel Mortimer and the Hunchback Wild, played by Klaus Kinski, but he refuses in order to stay out of trouble. As the movie is about to get intense, as Colonel Mortimer spies on Indio's man, as they leave town, as they find out from different sources, the other is a bounty killer. And they're chasing the same person for the same purpose, which works fantastically, in my opinion. Monko tries to get Colonel Mortimer out of town by proving gun skills by shooting the Colonel's hat from the ground 4 times, which was kind of funny. But the funniest part was Colonel Mortimer shoots Manco's hat 5 times, which was pretty fucking hilarious. They talk and reluctantly form a partnership and decide Manco should go undercover with the outlaws, which didn't does feel a little undercover movie cliche, but I'm digging it. He rescues one of Indio's friends from prison and is quickly offered membership into his gang, which seems rather dangerous, but the movie pulls it off, very well. Indio sends Manco with a few of his men to rob the bank just at Santa Cruz in order to be decoys and to get the sheriff and his men away from El Paso as Manco kills the men he is sent with and arrives in El Paso and brings Indio down with Mortimer, but the plan goes wrong and the gang successfully robs the bank and takes off with the loot. which felt rather odd to me, Manco tries to sever his ties with Mortimer, but Mortimer convinces him otherwise. However, when Manco joins back up with Indio, as he convinces him to go in the opposite direction of what the Colonel planned by shooting him in the neck, which is a good shot, but Mortimer, as these scenes are terrific to look at. They get to a small town of Agua Caliente or something like that. Forgive me if I said it wrong. Where Manco finds Mortimer waiting for him as the shoot apples down, which was pretty funny. The Hunchback recognizes the Colonel from the previous encounter and forces a showdown in which he is killed by the Colonel. As he proves his worth to Indio by cracking open the safe, without using explosives, but Indio states his intention to wait a month if necessary to allow the furor over the bank robbery to die down and locks the money away. In a chest in the treasure room, which makes sense to hide your money in an unknown room in a western, on that night, Manco and the Colonel meet in the treasure room and plan to steal the bank money from Indio, as the Colonel had already taken the money out of the chest earlier and now locks it again with his special ability to open and locks without keys, which was an interesting choice for the movie to go there. When they leave the treasure room by roof, they realize that the bandits are outside waiting for them, knowing that Manco is actually a bounty killer. And the Colonel is his cooperator. Just before Manco jumps down and he throws his bag with the money in a free tree unnoticed, when Manco and the Colonel have climbed down, Indio's band severely beat them with laughter that sounded annoying, honestly. Indio finds out the chest is still locked, which makes him believe that Manco and the Colonel never stole the money, which was good timing. Indio's right-hand man, Nino, on order from Indio, kills the guard of Manco, and the Colonel, as he releases them, Indio informs his gang about how they got away and sends them after the escaped bounty hunters, which is odd because he lets them go in the first place. He intends to kill off his gang with the bounty killers, while he and Nino take all the loot for themselves, which is very a Western movie to do. However, the smarter Groggy figures out what Indio is up to and kills Nino, which is a smart choice. But before he does, he finds out the Colonel has already removed the stolen money from the chest. Indio convinces Groggy to join forces with him to trap the bounty killers. This is working for me as well as a Western, unlike like last week's movie was. The next morning, Manco and Mortimer shoot down the gang one by one in the streets of the town. Standing alone, Mortimer shoots Groggy when the outlaw tries to run for it, but then has his gun shot out of his hand by Indio, whom as a bad guy is menacing, who takes out his pocket watch and begins playing it off a duel. As the chime nears the end, Manco suddenly appears with an identical pocket watch, playing the same tune as Indio's watch. Mortimer realizes he had been taken from him earlier. As this happens, Manco holds a Henry rifle on Indio and gives his gun belt and pistol to Mortimer, evening the odds. Now we start. Manco announces and sits while Mortimer and Indio face off. During the standoff, Manco locks down at the pocket watch and sees the same pictures of a woman Indio has raped. The music finishes, and Mortimer outdraws this and guns down Indio. At the juncture, Mortimer takes Indio's pocket watch. Manco gives him back the other watch and remarks on a family resemblance, indicating that the young woman portrait was that of Mortimer's sister. His revenge now complete, he decides to take no part of the bounty, and Manco tosses the last of the bodies into a wagon and counts them by the reward of each one. He realizes he has the $27,000 total, and spins around and guns down Gagi, who had survived or waited in ambush. As he leaves, he takes the bag with the bank money out of the trees, though it is not clear whether he intends to return it. Manco then rides off to the distance with the horse towing the wagon full of lifeless bodies of the entire gang, and as a climax, it worked very well. Now it's time for the rating. I'll give this movie a 8.6 out of 10. This is a well made movie with some very good shots, and I like seeing Clint Eastwood back in the role. It works as a Western, but at the same time, it's a great movie, but not as good as A Fistful of Dollars, but I still liked it quite a bit. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me, and I will be back with the one that I hear is a classic. I've only seen it once, but don't remember it very well, like I said. And I'll be back with the good, the bad, and the ugly. And until next time, why don't you eat the ice cream off the floor?